let's start with the game that is probably most fresh on everyone's mind if you're joining us tonight. Angel City FC versus Houston Dash. This one ends in a 0-0 scoreline. Lisa, I don't think you and I had this predicted as a scoreless draw at all.
No, we both actually had Houston getting a win on the road in Los Angeles against Angel City. And that's not at all how this game was going throughout it either. As I'm watching this game unfold through and the clock tick down, I'm like, Angel City's going to score. They're going to score. They're going to score.
Minute. Any minute, any second now. Yeah, same energy. I guess we gotta give it to Houston a little bit. This is a second consecutive week where they found themselves playing an extended period of time down a player. Okay, we get another opportunity or another moment here across week 13 where there is a red card issued. VAR comes into play to double check and make sure that everything was lined up on the screen. But there's a foul that occurs between Caitlyn, Sydney Leroux, and you could hear a fan reaction. You could see a little bit in the body language of Houston Dash players as well. Like, oh no, a yellow card is issued. And then of course the center official getting the radio feed in the air to check it out, goes under that Gatorade towel, comes back, rescinds, issues the red because what they saw on the screen was a clear and obvious, denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. So we get a second consecutive week here where a center back is issued a red card for Houston, and now there's a huge chunk of game that these players have to try to combat through.
That happened just before the 1 hour mark of this match. The 58th minute is when Lind gets sent off after the scenario unfolded. But the way that this unfolded, I mean, it was DOGSO. I think it was denying of an obvious goal scoring opportunity because the second to last defender being back is, if you take out a player at this point, and it's Sydney Leroux who gets the start, plays significant minutes for Angel City the entirety of the game, including stoppage time at the end of it, a huge factor and a force for this Angel City side. She gets goal side of Katie Lind, and she gets a step on Lind, and that's why this is DOGSO, and that's why she ultimately gets a red card, because Leroux is ahead of Lind. And she has to take her down in this situation. So it was Natalie Jacobs last week, Katie Lind this week. And we talked about it in the preview for Houston. Without Jacobs, how are they going to look? Who was going to slot into that center back role? Was it going to be Ali Prysock? Actually, we saw Sam Lady, head coach for the Dash, switch everything up. He went with the 3-4-3. So he decided to change formation and change structure because they didn't have Natalie Jacobs. Now, I mean, this is like almost looking too far ahead. What the heck are they going to do without Katie Lind?
Oh my goodness. I don't think that's looking too far ahead at all. That's like, I think both of us, right? That was like our immediate reactions is we're like, okay, so what's going to happen?
We'll get Jacobs back.
Yeah, right? I guess we're just going to rotate.
But I mean, I think we'll see a 3-4-3 again with Jacobs just slotting in. So it was Sophie Schmidt, who's usually the defensive midfielder for Houston. She dropped back as a center back alongside Prysock and Lind. Yeah. Honestly, now I think we're going to see the same thing. It's going to be Prysock, Schmidt, and Jacobs. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, we have to look ahead a little bit with something like this because tomorrow is June 26th, and that is the final date for international players who will have World Cup responsibilities with their respective national teams, and players are going to be released to those individual national teams. And Sophie Schmidt is one of these players on the Dash who are representing Canada.
Wasn't even thinking about that.
He's going to be missing, right. and it's like we have to think about that because if we just saw this scenario tonight, what is that going to mean for week 14 for them? I guess we'll have to stay tuned. I have to ask you this though.
At least they're not playing Angel City again because man, you would bet that if these two teams hit the field again, Angel City's getting a win.
Listen, when we did the preview of this game, we both went Houston, and they had the first performance where they were down a player, 10 players. They had to go a whole half. And for me, I was like, what a excellent gutsy performance. It was for me, I was like, this is the kind of a little bit of a statement win that maybe doesn't necessarily put the league on notice, but it definitely does something for your locker room. You're going up another top, against the top table team in OL Reign. They have to play an extended period of time with only 10 players. They're doing it in Houston, where they had terrible time. I mean, we're talking like soggy mess of a time because of the heat that both teams were dealing with. And it's that kind of performance where you just sort of find yourself in that moment and you have to dig a little bit deeper into your reserves to try to squeak something out. And they do this. They get a result. But now they're on the road.
I know.
And they're down a player against Angel City. And I'm sorry, if you are trying to leapfrog into that upper half of the table, this is a team on your calendar that you need to look at and say, we're going to go out there and handle some business. And it didn't happen for them this week.
It didn't happen. But honestly, I mean,
0 shots on target for Houston in this game right now.
I know. I mean, we looked silly for picking them because honestly, Angel City dominated throughout this. They had shots ricocheting off the post. They looked like they were ready to run at this. We talked so much about that this was the last game for World Cup players leaving. And specifically, you look at some of the U.S. internationals and Alyssa Thompson and Julie Ertz, both with Angel City. Phenomenal games from both of those players. Ertz almost getting on the board at the end of this Angel City game, throwing your body on the line, right? Like that's what you want to see from your midfielder with Angel City. I think Alyssa Thompson had a very good game. It's no reason that she's going to the World Cup. It's obvious, right? When you watch her play and watch this game unfold, this game was good. A great way to end week 13, a great way to close out June in the NWSL competition. Despite it being 0-0, there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of good opportunities. Clarice Lebeon having the closest one for Angel City, ricocheting it off the post. You could tell she was frustrated with it too. As soon as the ball went off the post and it didn't find the back of the net, frustrated with herself. She wanted that to be the difference maker for Angel City, but it wasn't. I think 2 claps for Becky Tweed, frankly. She's turned this team around and done really good things with Angel City in the last couple of weeks. Is the shine going to wear off?
I mean, I think we saw it a little bit with Kansas City Current, right? They had the jolt early on this season, and they looked a little bit different. And but I don't know. I like the response that we're witnessing from Angel City. They in light of losing their coach and working with the interim and Becky Tweed. I think they're also going to feel a little bit hard done in this game, in the sense where they kind of were working against themselves at a certain point. Sometimes when you get that player advantage, maybe your eyes get a little big. Right. And maybe it got to the point where it was so big that they weren't able to execute those opportunities. I'm very curious as to how the final numbers are going to look out of this game. I mean, it just ended. We're going live. We're recapping the game. I'm curious if that ends up being staying true, if Houston exits this game with an actual 0 shots on target. I think sometimes it takes a little while for that stuff to filter through, but it didn't look pretty for them.
Right now, it's still 0.
And it only got worse down the stretch. I mean, again, curious to see kind of where they build off of, off of this moving forward.
And I mean, we're talking about Angel City and the fact that Angel City held Houston to no shots. But also you have to look at the shutout that Jane Campbell was able to keep for this Houston Dash side. She had a tremendous game, a couple of tight saves that had to go to VAR. Did she touch it? Did she tip it? That's how close they were. Jane Campbell played a really good game, and then she broke another record for the most saves. That'll continue to happen for her throughout this season. And with this Houston Dash side, really good game from Campbell. And this was an exciting one to end the night.
Yeah, I think, look, we're keeping an eye on players who are going to eventually depart their teams. But we saw Alyssa Thompson come out of this game with what it looked like cramping. We got another view of the hot shot for cramping. Didn't look like she had a good time there trying to take that. But she comes out of this game with a World Cup on the horizon. Julie Ertz getting a game where she plays extended minutes. How do you feel about these two players? Do they feel like Do they look like players who are just ready to go and
100%.
run and gun in a World Cup?
Yes, I mean, you look at Julie Ertz and the physicality of her play tonight for Angel City, throwing her body on the line in the final minutes just to try to get a shot on frame. Her fitness level was very, very high as well, which is something that you want to see and maybe was a bit of a question mark as she was looking to build up physicality, getting back into this game. But she played great tonight, frankly. I think you look at Ertz and Thompson and they're ready to go. They're packed, they're getting on the plane, and they're feeling good.
I like that Julie Ertz was active in every which shape or form, winning the ball or breaking lines. I think it kind of looked like the type of form that you wanted to see from this player going into the World Cup after such an extended absence from the pitch. And you could sort of see Thompson trying to work through and say, just stretch it out, I'll be fine. Yeah. But good call from Tweet to say, you know what, just get out of here. You covered a lot of ground. Let's go. We've got forwards. We'll get in Katie Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, what's the thing? We got the hot shots now for the cramping and the dehydration. A banana. We can always revert back to a banana. Right. The mustard packs. Those are gross, but sometimes they work. Pickle juice. Like, let's get some pickle juice for the young gal.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a little bit of dill. You can change it up. If you don't like something or the other, we'll see what happens. They split the points 0-0 for these two teams. Houston still on the outside looking in. Angel City still struggling to get a little bit higher in the standings here. Let's pivot a little bit. We're going to stay with the DOGSO category, but we're going to talk about another game in which a red card occurred. Let's talk about two top table teams going head to head, though. San Diego Wave versus OL Reign. It continues. Laura Harvey getting the better. Casey Stoney, a win for the Reign, 2-1. I liked this game.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Of course, the drama that happened in the DOGSO category, because that's why we've organized them as this structure throughout this episode right now. And that's exactly what happened. Caitlyn Sheridan, goalkeeper, for San Diego Wave, getting a red card and being sent out. Now, it was at the very tail end of the game, so San Diego not having to play down a player as much as Houston did this weekend, but still an opportunity where Elise Bennett, forward for OL Reign, was putting pressure on Sheridan, and Sheridan, who is not only one of the best goalkeepers in the world, Canadian international gold medalist, one of the best goalkeepers with her feet, especially in the NWSL. There's a lot of top talent, but Sheridan truly becomes an 11th field player for her team with the Wave. And we see her being involved in the buildup of a play at almost every single time San Diego has it, whether she's getting assists, whether she's helping between Kaylee Reel and Naomi Gurma, the two center backs for San Diego. And in this moment, Sheridan is confident and comfortable on the ball, which she should be. And I think Elise Bennett was a bit faster than Sheridan maybe anticipated, because Sheridan takes a first touch. It's a half first touch. And before you know it, Elise Bennett's all over her. And Caitlyn Sheridan has to tackle. She doesn't win it. Elise Bennett doesn't win the ball and go to goal, but Sheridan steps in, and as the last defender, that's a red card, denying of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. You're down a man, and you go from there.
But I love that from Bennett. I was like, what a brilliant, smart play by this player.
It was wonderful.
Just sophomore season. You love to see that from young players, this kind of just poacher mentality and kind of forcing the issue. And yeah, I did come at the later stage, which maybe we talk about how things kind of got to a boiling point. There was some chirping going on in this match. And it was a game I think that was mostly controlled by OL Reign, in my opinion, in terms of like how I view things. But, getting on the scoreboard early in this one, excellent assist from Quinn. You see them lob this ball to Balser, who is just clinical on headers. They get the early lead just 8 minutes into this game. And then it's just kind of large stretches of maybe some leveling out of the play. And then we really see this second half where things kind of heat up between these two sides.
Completely. I mean, yeah, the opening goal from Bethany Balcer, of course, it's scored with her head inside the 18-yard box. I mean, those are like her top tier stats and how she's able to do that. Quinn, you're exactly right. They play a beautiful chipped ball into Balcer inside the box, and that's how things get rolling for OL Reign. And you're right, it did kind of even out, I would say, throughout the end of the first half. But 47th minute, just 2 minutes into the second half, it's Jaden Shaw, the young superstar, linking up with the GOAT, Alex Morgan, right, headed to a World Cup roster. We talk about that rub and how it rubs off. Even if you're going to your fourth one, like Alex Morgan, it still rubs off. She gets the assist on the equalizing goal from Jaden Shaw just 2 minutes into the second half. I mean, Morgan on the flanks, and she cuts it back with her left foot. It's a great goal. It's an insane goal from Jaden Shaw. I mean, she's so good. It is so fun to watch Jaden Shaw play. I can't wait. I can't wait for more of that.
I was curious if it was the type of goal where it was just going to completely kind of shift the momentum, a bit in the Waves' favor. And it did, perhaps, because it comes so early in the second half. And you're just kind of like,
Reign was still like tying their shoes from halftime at this point.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like, all right, well, you know what? This is going to be the moment where maybe, they kind of capitalize on this and they get back into this, and maybe they, play to the home field advantage and try to get it. But the Reign had like completely just stole that momentum back. Like this, you could just see like with San Diego in these moments of trying to wait for the pressure to come to them. I think it kind of came back and bit them a bit because we've got an all Reign side that has Sofia Huerta, who is like, okay, well, give me the ball. I'll just keep advancing as much as I want. And I loved this so much. And we're talking about players having excellent games before they depart for national team camps ahead of the World Cup. And Sofia Huerta with a monster game, just showing like all the reasons why she likely got selected for this national team. Serves up the assist on the game winner to Balcer, and it is served up on a platter. My favorite part about this it isn't even so much that it was just like this lovely lob. Not only does she get it, she gets it around the tallest field player on the pitch, closing in on space. You see Taylor Korniak trying to defend away from Sofia Huerta, and Sofia Huerta just says nope and gets this ball into Balcer, and they connect for the game winner. It was delightful, and it ties her for most assists in the league with 31. Awesome
Holy cow. I mean, 31 assists from an outside back most recently, right? That's where we've seen Huerta play under Laura Harvey. This goal, you're exactly right. It was wonderful. The final 15 minutes of the game closing out. That's 2 for Balcer. A brace on the day, 2 with her head. Huerta gets the assist. Of course, kudos to those players. And I echo everything you said about Huerta getting the call up to the national team and going to her first World Cup. But as you mentioned, after the equalizer at the start of the second half for San Diego, there wasn't as much of a momentum shift as I wanted. OL Reign really took control of the game. I think a lot of credit needs to go to Ziara King. This forward for Laura Harvey was all over the pitch, and she's not on the stat sheet. She wasn't contributor to the goal, but she draws defenders away, which gives Balcer more space on the pitch. She's constantly moving. King is all over the pitch for OL Reign during this game. It was really fun to watch her play and kind of bounce in and out of these spaces, look energetic and ready to go. I mean, for OL Reign to get this win, it's a good one. You and I both had draws for this game. We thought it was going to end splitting the points, but it almost did, honestly. Amira Ali had an opportunity.
Oh my goodness!
That Ali should have finished that. Is a through ball from Alex Morgan, and Amira Ali gets on the end of it. When Alex Morgan's setting you up like that, you got to put it on frame. Yeah,
I don't disagree with you. I think the other side of it too is we're looking at these players having. You could see that they're having these like kind of just fun, kind of more free type of performances. sort of feels like a weight's been lifted a little bit. It's like they know they've been named to the roster. Let's go. But I think the other side of that is we're getting glimpses of players who will likely have an impact for their teams in the absence of these players. There's not going to be a ton of regular season games because there's going to be a break for the World Cup, but there's still Challenge Cup that will be played during stretches of this World Cup. And I'm looking at players like Ali, who will likely be called upon to try to, make sure that San Diego stay competitive in those games. So I think these are also the performances that we're looking for as well. Jaden Shaw, right? Possibly another player. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that moving forward. But OL Reign looking like a team that refuses to fall out of the upper half of the table. And
at the end of this one, I mean, we're talking about the World Cup break and everything. Caitlyn Sheridan does get a red card. So to come back, I mean, it's not going to happen, right? Sheridan's going to the Olympics with Canada.
Yeah.
So it'll be a few months down the
serve
road.
That when you come back.
Yeah. So they're going to keep track of that one and make sure that Sheridan doesn't play in the next game she's available for. That's so funny.
Oh my goodness. Maybe they'll forget about it. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out. Stay tuned.